fun having an art show mid-apocalypse. It's better than I thought it would be.
Why don't we start by describing the basic setup? Because we had to do something a little bit different. Well, we didn't have to, but we decided to, so we did. Would you like to describe, since you were there in person?
And I did all the setup.
All the setup, yes.
In order to mitigate the risks of spreading a virus, first of all, the whole thing was outside. And then we had like a track, basically. So there was a path up the steps onto the porch, and then you'd go around the porch, and then there was like a little studio area in the back, and then when you came back the other way, there was an alternate path that would take you through the garden back to where you started. So it was kind of like a little loop so that people would always be moving in the same direction, and then they could always stay 6 feet apart. So we had our prints, then we had some framed prints, and then we also had some jewelry that Aaron made, and then there was also our canvas prints. We got a little ambitious when we were talking about doing this. Aaron was really concerned about being there in person, and we were also talking about maybe doing like a live demonstration of some of our art process. And so we kind of came up with the idea of not only having Aaron there remotely from home, streaming from her computer to the studio live, we also decided to do a Twitch stream at the same time. The top screen would have me there live at the studio, streaming remotely to our streaming computer from the studio tour, while Aaron was streaming from here to the studio tour, and then actually talking and engaging with some of the people that were there. So Aaron was basically there remotely, and we could talk to her and chat to her. It actually worked out. I think a lot of people were really, I think they were surprised by it. I don't think anybody was expecting it. Certainly nobody else was doing anything like that. And I think a lot of people found it really cool that they would walk by and Aaron was there on the computer and she could say hi and talk to them and answer questions and demonstrate some of our drawing processes. What was your overall impression?
It went much better than I thought it would. Part of that was because I wasn't sure how turnout would be during the plague, but also it was surprising because a lot of our previous, when we've been like vendors at events and stuff, we would sell maybe like one or two things at an event. But this was like an all-day thing, and it was very well publicized, and it was sort of, I wouldn't say it's sort of more prestigious. We weren't just like random vendors at a show. This show was about like an art exhibition, and I think that kind of gave it a veneer of legitimacy or something.
If we were to do it again, there's certainly things that I would do a little differently. I also found it difficult to communicate that like we do art together, but it isn't obvious when you look at our work who did what, or that what they're seeing is a product of two artists and not just one. And then of course the other thing is that since this is an art show that is mainly, the patronage is more used to traditional mediums, physical. This was painted on canvas with oil, and these are the techniques, and people aren't used to seeing digital artwork. And so I feel like a lot of people that came and saw our work, I get the sense that maybe they didn't really understand what they were seeing or like what went into making it. And if there's any way that I could better showcase the process by which some of those things were created, I would definitely do that.
Yeah, I think some people were still under the impression that the computer does all the work, the bane of the digital artist's existence. Not everyone got it, but some people
Yeah, not everybody
did.
understood. I think it was, it went over a few people's heads, which is fine.
Which is surprising because I'm very short.
I was definitely really happy with the people that stopped to talk to us about our work and the things that we did, especially this one older couple who seemed to think that if they had attempted what we had done, that they would have murdered each other, because I guess they were both artists, but they're very separate. They said that if the other person touched their art, they would start killing each other. How do you not fight about your art? And like, we fight about other things.
Just married people things.
Like, why are the groceries still on the goddamn porch?
They're still on the goddamn porch because I've lost control of my life. What were the most surprising things that you learned, or the most unexpected things that you had to deal with?
Well, we should probably get the obvious one out of the way. By the time I come up with this idea, we only had like a week or two left to go, and we needed a laptop like quick. And nobody could sell me one because school is like just starting up, And literally everybody needs a laptop now because all schoolwork is being done remotely. So nobody could sell me one. I went to Best Buy to just go get one in person. I figured I'd just go in and walk out with a machine, and they were like, oh, they're all back ordered. You know, as soon as we can get you one is like 2 weeks from now. We ended up actually finding a refurbished one on Newegg. Turns out they sold me a laptop with a dead battery. We had done several tests the week before this happened, and then we get to the show, and we're streaming in the morning for maybe an hour, and the battery's just going down, the thing's not charging. Even though it's plugged into the power source the entire time, the battery just kept draining. And then finally the thing got to 0% and it shut off, and I could not get the thing to turn back on. It would not charge. I left it plugged in for 30 minutes, and it still wouldn't turn on. So halfway through, on the first day, I had to take apart this laptop that I got a week ago to pull the battery out in order to get the damn thing to turn on. I guess another thing that was kind of a surprise, although it really shouldn't have been a surprise, was just how kind and accommodating the other artists were. Adrian, our host, and his wife Leah were just the nicest freaking people. Just unbelievably welcoming and supportive and helpful and very open-minded and excited about everything that we were doing and everything that we had to bring. And they were so stoked when we talked to them about doing the live stream. They just couldn't believe that we were going to be doing that. And then the first day, I got a little dressed up. I wore my vest with the belts, and I had the all black look, and I had basically made a side mention about I have some armor that goes with this, but I don't know if I want to wear that because I don't want to scare people away. And Adrian was like, you have to wear your armor. He really wanted that to happen. He was just like, no, we gotta see that. Come on, man. The day before the tour, we showed up early in the morning on Friday to bring all our stuff, start setting up our gallery spaces, figuring out who's going to put stuff where, what this is going to look like, and all this other stuff.
Having scones and espresso.
And having
Don't forget the scones and espresso. Those are very important parts of the story.
At some point, we sat down for lunch. We just sat down and we chatted for an hour, and it was just great. I was so happy just having a chance to socialize with some other very talented artists.
It was frustrating when we were having a hard time finding where we fit in. We hung out with different artists in different art scenes.
We still don't fit in anywhere.
Yeah, no, but it's not a matter of fitting in, but just being able to relate. We were trying to go to a lot of different events, and we just didn't really vibe. But I feel like this was a vibe that we could get into.
It was very welcoming.
It was vibable.
The whole Chester County Studio Tour organization has been very welcoming.
Surprisingly so, because I was afraid, remember last year when we told people that we were digital artists? A lot of them were kind of on the studio tour, a lot of them were kind of oh, digital. Oh, okay.
Right.
But it didn't seem that way when we actually joined the studio tour, and I thought that was pretty cool.
It sucks that COVID-19 scrapped a lot of the event plans that were going to happen, but the tour itself, despite all of the restrictions and all of the extra preparations that we had to put into it to mitigate the risks and all this other stuff, despite all of that, it actually ended up being just a really great experience. And I think the reason why it was such a great experience was because of the artists that we got paired with. They were just absolutely wonderful people. I mean, certainly lots of people were interested. There were plenty of other people that just kind of overlooked us completely, which I'm sure is true for any other artists. Some people are going to really resonate with your stuff and some people just won't. But there were a couple of people that really got it. And it was very exciting to see that in person, because if you put your work online and it really vibes with somebody, unless they tell you so, it's really hard to know if you reached anybody with that. And certainly for us, because we're very obscure at the moment, it's very hard to know if what you're doing is actually making a connection with people. So I think the best part about being at an art show where you get to display your work live is that you also get to see the reactions live. You get to see them seeing your artwork, and you get to see the way they react to your work. And I think that was probably the most enlightening part, I guess, the most exciting part for me. I think next year I would like to have a couple more sculptures, certainly hope to have at least a few more prints. I know we're not producing artwork at any significant pace, but we have many other hobbies, a lot of which we want to start talking about on the channel here.
Which is why we changed it to Jaren House instead of just drawing with Jaren. We're trying to diversificate.
Well, try saying it with a little bit of enthusiasm. You sound
Diversificate! That's not a word. But we are trying to do that.
aside from the stream, which we've been trying to do regularly, which we've failed to do, we're giving ourselves a kick in the pants this coming October, which is
Like a week or two from now.
yeah, it's
How
a little
is
more than a week
September
away.
almost over already? What is time anymore? It was just March.
We're going to be giving our streaming career a little kick in the pants here because next month we are actually going to be doing the Drawtober challenge. We're going to be doing Drawtober next month, and we're going to be streaming the whole thing. So we're going to be online every night for the month of October doing a new digital piece every single night for that whole month. I'm dreading it a little bit,
Why are
but
you dreading it? It's not supposed to be stressful. If it's stressful, then you're doing it wrong.
yeah, you and me have very different ways of operating.
It's supposed to be fun. If it's not fun, don't do it.
I feel like if I'm not stressed that I'm not accomplishing anything.
Well, you have to change your attitude.